Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are playing Hearthstone, another live stream of Hearthstone. So, Darian wants to play me and that helps. Hopefully he'll be easier to beat, or he'll let me beat. James Anderson jumped into the chat and he says Leroy Jenkins. Now, Darian challenged me on standard, which means I need to find something I can win. And I don't have a paladin or priest to win. So I guess we're playing the druid helper. Like I guess I'm gonna have to get a standard paladin or priest deck built if Darian can only play me standard, which might be the case. Having a little bit of an awkward day. I don't quite feel myself right now. I feel a little laid back. Not as energetic as I usually am, and I'm usually not that energetic in the first place. Just to be honest. We're going through the news. We still have a lot of news to do, and I guess I'll just keep reading it. Monster Hunter World apparently is coming out. I think Monster Hunter World is different from the big game, but maybe it's not. No, it is the big game. So it's called Monster Hunter World. It's PlayStation 4, Xbox One, January 8th in Japan. In Japan, it will only be released on the PlayStation 4. A PC version is due at a later date, which is probably a chance that there actually won't be a PC version at all. Here's a video of the announcement from Tokyo Game Show. Wow, is it in English? Because it's got Japanese subtitles. No, she's gotta be. She's still speaking Japanese. It's gotta be. I was awake during the time that these announcements at TGS was happening, so I could have live streamed it all, but Japanese companies claim copyright on things regardless, and all of this screen that I'm watching right now is in Japanese. So while I could get the general idea of what's going on, most of it would be lost on me. I would need probably just... How could I phrase it? I would need to be close to completely fluent in Japanese to understand what they're saying, like to even get the general idea of what they're saying. It would be nice if Monster World succeeded in the rest of the world, but I don't know if it really is going to. It's a little bit weird. We'll shuffle these. This isn't hugely video game related, but apparently a European Union Commission report didn't find a link between piracy and sales, and then they tried to bury that report because they didn't want to come out and say that. But it's something that we've all kind of known. It's like the people that pirate things typically we're either never going to buy it in the first place, we're never going to be in the we're never going to be willing to, or we're never going to be in the financial position to buy something, or more often than not they pirate something and then they eventually get around to actually buying the thing.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets
you like my invention.
So
you wish to live forever.
Is someone injured?
moving on with the news, I guess. I'm reading an article, but it really doesn't have anything to do with video games. So I'll read that later. Let's see. There's a game called Girls und Panzer, so it's a German style. And let's see. Girls und Panzer Dream Tank match is due on the PlayStation 4 in Japan as well as in Asia with English subtitles in winter 2017. The Japanese do have a subculture that is really obsessed with tanks and battleships. Like, I honestly think that it's probably because they just don't have very many, since they just have a self-defense force and their constitution established after World War II specifically forbids them from having a military an offensive force so they just don't have that kind of militaristic thing. And I really think they're more interested in the battleships and the tanks as in the sense that they are like mecha robots more than they are interested in them as weapons of war. Similar is probably true in the United States and probably a lot of other countries too, is that kids haven't really seen tanks in action or battleships in action. They just see them on cartoons as interesting things, and that's where they're getting their interest in it, is what I'm guessing. Let's see. Do I have any real news here? Or do I have... Super Mario Run adds a big update to add new levels, a new mode, and Daisy. Too little, too late, in my opinion. Super Mario Run is long time. Let's see. Let's see. We can play this. We can play this.
For the wild. Job done.
There's a game that's tentatively titled Project One Room. It's the spiritual successor to something called Romania number 203 has been announced. What kind of game is this? Like, I've never heard of Romania 203. And is it a horror game? Is it a escape the room game? Is it just a you're in a room living your life game?
Well played.
Man, there is no details. And that trailer told me nothing. That told me nothing. Well, before Darian challenged me, unless somebody wants to give me a wild challenge right now, I think I am just going to switch over to the Asian accounts. Getting victories is the hardest part of all the daily quests, and I'm going to switch over to the Asia account, actually, not even going to the European account. We'll get to the European account later. But yeah, getting victories is the hardest thing, and those are things I can certainly do later as we're trying to get the news down. There is a slightly different feeling of how I'm running these streams now. I'm just kind of running until, oh, here's a challenge a friend. Anybody want to get on the Asia account? Destroy or Tactic Torn are the only two people that have even bothered to friend me on the Asia account. So get on the Asia account and we can do a challenge a friend. Otherwise, that's not gonna get done. 5 games and Paladin class cards. I did get the Tavern Brawl done off screen, so we have this card pack. I don't want to open card packs when people aren't watching. That seems a little silly, so we'll do that now. And decent chance that all of those are new cards for this new account. Well, yep. Apparently they all are. Let's see. But if I got 5 new cards, why... Oh, I do have 5 numbers there. I didn't do the math right. So, yep, 5 new cards added to my collection. Still a lot of collection to go. And I need to play Paladin class cards, which means we need to delete some custom thing, and we'll just get rid of this. And I'm just continuously rebuilding decks when I do this, because every week practically I get 5 new cards, and theoretically that means rebuilding the decks could potentially give me cheaper and easier cards to play. Or if I'm not getting 5 new cards because of that reason, I'm getting new cards because I'm leveling up. So there's our cheap Paladin cards to play. Let's go in here and start playing them. Let's look at the chat, just make sure nobody said anything. As long as the chat isn't broken, nobody said anything for about 20 minutes. There's a game called The Game Paradise Crushing Mix, which launches November 30th in Japan. It looks like a kind of bullet hell shooter, top-down style game. Although it seems like instead of shooting planes, you're shooting cats and other things.
Your soul shall be mine. I will fight with honor.
These Gametsu articles are very short. Very short. But honestly, in the video game reporting, like a lot of times, that's all you can do is just a short recap of the single sentence that people tell you about their game. Like, I imagine press releases for video games often are incredibly small.
The light dims, but we fight.
Steam has a sale going on called the Dark Dames and Adventure Games, which is an interesting title. I'll have to see how many of these I really own already, because I own the cat lady, I know, and I may already own Kathy Rain, and I may already own Bear with Me, and so in this bundle I might be able to save some money, maybe not.
Repent.
Job's done.
I don't talk about Steam sales that often. People can watch them or not.
Jade Serpent Guide.
And this isn't news about video games. There's a game called Ginkai Toki Castle Panzers Castle Strengthening. Man, these names are crazy long. Just get rid of that. I should have killed that guy first, then played Getaway Kodo. Let's see.
At last, a worthy disciple.
It's coming out for PlayStation. Ginkai Toki Castle Panzers is coming out for PlayStation 4 on September 28th in Japan. Let's watch it and see what kind of game it is. You know, my whiteboard solution, ever since I stopped using it, it really has saved me a lot of time. It was an unnecessary amount of effort I was putting extra.
Job's done.
So this game looks like a heavily menu-driven RPG, if I was to guess. Like, doesn't really look like anything that interesting. What was that? Something just turned me into, I think, Mr. Bigglesworth. Like, this one. Polymorph a random enemy minion. It did polymorph me, interesting.
Face the airs of magic.
Job's done.
Man, I take my eyes off the trailer for 5 seconds and there's a mermaid in this trailer shaking its behind at me. So it's an overworld kind of dungeon crawler RPG. It's not really a dungeon crawler because it's not in a dungeon. It seems like you have a tank that you can fire, and that seems to be your fight mechanic instead of a team of warriors, which I guess it's slightly changing the genre.
Face the
Then
airs of magic. Protect the flight.
So, yep, another weird Japanese game. TGS, that's all it's gonna be. Near Automata, there was a story about they're hiring a new person on their team trying to take the Nier series and branch it out. I think it's pretty obvious that they have intentions of taking that series and making it more valuable, more profitable, I guess would be the right term. I think their goal will be to probably make a mobile game, probably just have multiple versions, so we will see more Nier Automata or Nier games in the series. Will it be good games is the question. Right now, the total worldwide digital and physical shipments has exceeded 2 million of Nier Automata. I think, though, it's still worth pointing out they haven't put out that patch. They haven't fixed it on PC, so this game that was kind of supposed to be an example of Japanese companies are finally getting it, and they're finally going to release things in good formats on PC, and they're embracing PC gaming in Japan a little bit more. All of those hopes are not being fulfilled.
Job's done. Reporting for duty.
I could have played this and won, but whatever. I still want to play Nier Automata. I would be much more likely to not play Firewatch at this point than I would be to not play Nier Automata, even though both of those games have some problems. Red Phoenix came on and said hello. Hello, Red Phoenix. Darn it, I could have won and I didn't play right. Oh well, I still have a decent chance of winning. Again, I didn't play right. I keep summoning Silverhand recruits when I should look at my cards. And so I think we're getting close to running out of news at this point. So I don't know how much more I want to go. I may just make two episodes today. I'm so far ahead on recording Hearthstone compared to anything else that it still doesn't really upset me if I only make 2 recordings per every 3 days. Rainbow Six Siege is switching to the Counter-Strike Go style of recoil patterns. I don't understand what that means at all. So I guess maybe that means that the recoil on the gun is going to work a little bit different.
Reporting for duty. For justice.
Look, I'm about to lose. Let's just play. Yeah, it is unbelievable I lost there.
That belongs in a museum.
So apparently, Rainbow Six Siege didn't like, players didn't like the way the guns recoiled, and so they're changing it. And okay, make those small amount of players that are still playing Rainbow Six Siege happy, because that's all the audience you're ever gonna get. I recently played Chivalry Medieval Warfare. Oh wow, actually won. That's surprising. I was not expecting that victory at all. If I was paying better attention, I probably would be expecting it. So I played like a game, I think it's called Chivalry Medieval Warfare, that's a multiplayer only game. It's one of the many games I got for free, and and I was like, yeah, I guess if people want to play as sword slashing games, that this kind of makes sense, but it certainly wasn't for me. Of course, that's pretty much true for any any multiplayer game. It's just like, nah, I don't want to play it. I just don't want to play it. There's a game called Harbinger. Apparently I've missed. Etrian Odyssey. Oh, that's why it's not called Harbinger. It's called Etrian Odyssey 5 Beyond the Myth, introducing the Harbinger class. Okay.
I greet you.
So that explains why I missed it, because that's not the name of it. I should read the titles better. Here's an interesting one. F.Lux, which is a PC program that adjusts the lighting so you don't strain your eyes as much during nighttime. Apparently put out an update to work better with games, which is kind of surprising because I would have thought that F.Lux wouldn't have updated. I thought they weren't updating or putting anything more in it. Sadly, I can't use F.Lux because then it would mess up recording, and frankly, for my insomnia, it probably wouldn't help any. More games are coming back to backwards compatibility for the Xbox, which is okay, and I'm on the Humble Bundle page, which tells me I am out of news. Let's see. We can go to Twitter and see what we can get annoyed with. But otherwise, I think this is going to be it. We're not going to, on the European account, get a... you're not going to get a... What am I trying to say? Another pack to open, so there's nothing really to show there. It's just going to be more daily quests. There's, I don't think, a real value in showing off daily quests. So I kind of just want to control my time. If I can get all of the daily quests done, which I will try to do for the rest of the day, I will then move on to playing games that I got for free, and I'm trying them all out for 30 minutes. November is going to be very odd. Like, worst case scenario in November, every weekday there will be one video and Hearthstone, and that's it. And then that will give me hopefully a buffer to start doing December and get a month ahead, which is what I had intended and wanted to do, frankly, all over this year. And instead of getting ahead, I got behind just because of stupidity and overcommitting myself. So I need to play these cards. Best case scenario, I play all of the games I got for free, and that somehow turns out to be closer to the 4 or 5 extra things in the air per weekday. and there's just a lot of random games. It's still gonna be rather weird, but in the end, I just need to play cards, so I'm gonna play them. It would be better to cover more than one game for 30 minutes. Honestly, I guess it doesn't really matter. And this will certainly fill up my Spotlights playlist, with Spotlights being games I only play like a little bit of and I don't play all the way through. That doesn't inherently include games that I rage quit, but games that I, knowing at the beginning,
Justice.
just wasn't gonna play. I guess the Mirror's Edge is a good example of a game I spotlit and then I turned around many months later and played all the way through. And now I'm just scrolling through Twitter and seeing if there's anything worth talking about. Let's see. Play this. Play this. Attack. And then lose.
You're so sweet.
There is certainly kind of this weirdness too with the way I'm streaming right now and the way I'm doing it. We're gonna go with more of a just limited experience of just doing an hour or two. This is what it was supposed to always be, and it got out of hand. I figured out how to get the chat back. Red Phoenix said hola, hola, which again is not English. I guess I'm gonna be a little bit laxer on the English only rule than I probably should. I know what hola means, so I know he's not breaking any of the other rules, but he still kind of is breaking the rules. Whatever. Like, I don't want to be super hard and rude about it, but it is just opening this mushy middle ground where people are going to complain when I tell some people that they have to speak in English, and then they're going to come back and say, well, you didn't force this guy to speak in English. This instance. Red Phoenix, sorry, but everyone knows what hola means. Well, that's the thing, is that I don't have a better way to define this rule. Like, I wish the rule wasn't even there. I wish YouTube just translated things and then it would all be fine. And then the second YouTube does just translate things to English, that rule will go away, but I don't know how to enforce it a different way. It's like the rules they do in school. They often suck, but they either are gonna be really stringent with it, or they're gonna have hundreds of students complaining that it's not being forced fair equally. I'm sure there's plenty of Russian people out there that think everybody knows what hello in Russian is too, and I don't. I do know what hola means, but if somebody wrote hello in every single language, I don't know what it means in Chinese. Honestly, if it was typed. And there's way more Chinese people on the planet, so a Chinese person would probably assume that everybody on the planet knows what hello means. So we just can't make that assumption.
Get down!
Well, moving on to my other rant. Like, again, I've been rather disappointed with the video game, the main video game industry. They're literally beating a dead horse, and I don't want to beat a dead horse complaining about them beating a dead horse. They're still talking about the whole PewDiePie mess, which honestly, it goes back to the Wall Street Journal article attacking PewDiePie. It's all the same thing. It's literally the same company that's publishing the same articles, but there's literally no way to get some people to drop things. It's just like, okay, we heard you, I agree with you, even now just drop it. And those people are often very, very annoying. It's like, no, we've got to talk about it. No, we have to address this. No, we have to correct this. No, you're not doing enough. You have to keep doing. You have to keep trying. It's like, man, you're just never gonna drop it, are you? You're just gonna beat this dead horse forever. That really is the phrase to use. There was another thing that was rather interesting. In the latest PC Gamer podcast, they kind of proudly admit that the video game critic industry is incredibly corrupt, because they don't see it this way and they don't realize this, but they went through a list of all of the employees that used to work for PC Gamer, and they listed them all. I guess 5 games with Druid and Hunter's not even worth playing right now, so let's just switch over to the European account and see if we can do something that's a little bit more attainable. They listed all of them. They listed all of the former employees and where they are now, and with pretty much only the exception of Gary Whitta, who is writing the screenplays and scripts for Star Wars and works for Disney, every single other person that they list in their podcast proudly, they're not hiding anything, they're not even realizing what they're saying here, every single one of them works for a video game company now. So it is just a revolving door, and they don't even realize that that's unethical for somebody who well, for the industry to create this lobbyist-like atmosphere where you review video games for a while and then you become a you work for the publishers, you work for the video game companies. Let's see, Battlecry cards, I guess is what I need to play. But it's totally not ethical, like, to create that atmosphere at the very least. If just in general, to take a job for an industry that you were supposed to be impartial of. There are a lot worse examples in a lot of other industries, certainly. Like, it's a lesser known fact that Bill Nye, the science guy, was a lobbyist for an energy company, and he's still kind of taking things to advertise and lobby for things. Like most recently, some Kickstarter paid him to promote a solar investment company, venture capital thing, and there's a lack of credibility there, certainly, where you're just promoting things and also supposedly presenting yourself as an objective party who's criticizing things. The most obvious example of this certainly is that politicians often will get lobbyist jobs for the things that they were making the laws for, and they know that they're going to get lobbyist jobs. So you can easily bribe a politician to write a law that is good for big oil by just promising or implying, or in general just having a system where it is very common for a politician to become a lobbyist after their term, and it's just unethical. Honestly, if you're a video game critic, if you're a news reporter, whatever you're reporting on, you inherently, if you want to keep your credibility and if you want to keep the credibility of the industry, can never work for the company that you're reporting on. You cannot become a employee of a video game company after you become a video game critic. It just shouldn't happen. Like, I'm willing to say that would be very unethical if I did that. If I was a critic of video game companies and they said, hey, why don't you hire us as a programmer, I'd say no. Like, that's way too unethical. At the very least, you need to space it out. I would say that Adam Sessler, at the very least, when he left working for Revision 3 Games and basically running that, he took many months in which he didn't do anything video game released. It was as obvious as you probably could make it that he was no longer acting in the role of a video game critic, and he kind of spaced it out as much as possible, which is still probably not ethical, honestly, regardless of how much time you put in it. The fact that he was known for decades to be a critic and now he's promoting Friday the 13th is not good. There's a lot worse cases, though. I think Jim Sterling is a prime example of somebody who's unethically crossing the line backwards and forward. He's criticizing games while also voice acting in games. It seems like a lot of YouTube people are specifically going that route. It's like they'll take money and be hired by companies to be voice actors while presenting themselves as critics. You don't see news reporters on even local news or national news taking acting roles on other TV stations, and that's kind of what's happening. So, yeah, there's a lack of ethics in gaming journalism. Who would have guessed? Yet again. I'm also getting the feeling that Jim Sterling actually isn't very good at playing games. I don't know if he's ever actually claimed to be good at playing games, but when you go back and look at the fact that he's been covering bad games for the most part, for a major part of his YouTube career at least, he may have just been playing bad games because he kind of stinks at good games. And I'm not saying video game journalists have to be great at games, but they have to be average at the very least. You can't be like the guy who was playing Cuphead, which I think people are probably overreacting to Cuphead, and when real people start playing Cuphead, I think they're going to find that that game is rather difficult. But that being said, the video that came out of the person that couldn't even get through the tutorial was not making realistic level of quality of gameplay, unless the controls are just awful in the game, which maybe the controls are awful in the game. And I don't want to throw stones in glass houses. There's certainly a major number of games that I'm not going to be great at, but you know, I was playing a multiplayer shooter in the tutorial mode, and I was able to shoot the gun. I was able to kill people. And shooters are probably where I'm the weakest. There's probably a level of some games that I just would never have any interest in playing, and so because of that I might suffer a little bit on those. But Jesse Cox is a YouTube streamer, whatever, that's with friends with Total Biscuit, and he did a video of a kickstarted game that's 400% funded. What was it called? Tears of Lust or something like that. And it's a kind of 3D point-and-click adventure set in a Eyes Wide Shut sex demonic cult. So he's playing this demo on YouTube, and he's having to censor so many things. It's like there's so much nudity, and I'm like, you know what? This would be a funny game for me to play on Valentine's Day, but like I did, what was the one, Honey Pop? But unlike Honey Pop, there'd just be so much censoring. I don't think so. And I would have to insist on the game actually being finished before I did anything like that. So, let's see. I think we're good. I think I managed to not get into much of a rant. Hopefully next week is better. I've been incredibly bored, honestly. I didn't even talk about the Giant Beast cast. They went on a 20-minute rant beating a dead horse over and over again. And what's really bad about this is every time they're talking about this PewDiePie stuff, they're not even doing good journalism. They're not checking their sources. They're not listening to PewDiePie's direct videos and his direct posts and comments. They're just reading something that either the Washington Post or the Verge or some other article wrote about him. So some article mischaracterizes what he says, and then PC Gamer, Giant Beast Cast, Giant Bomb in general, they mischaracterize the mischaracterization. They're not checking sources. They're not doing good journalism. There's two things in gaming journalism. You have to be good at games and you have to be good at journalism. They're not doing either. But and so they're just beating this dead horse, and I don't want to hear it. And they're pushing me away from agreeing with them to the point of ridiculousness, is because they're just so annoying and just won't drop it. Like, it's so full of vitriol and hate that it's losing credibility. And I don't want to get like that, personally. I don't want to get to the point where where I'm so irritated and full of dislike for the big media gaming journalism that I'm just ranting. There's too many people on YouTube already there, but I also need some news sources. So maybe I'm just gonna have to stop listening, stop watching, listening to podcasts in total. Like maybe I'll just have to be less informed. It really sucks, because half of the news I got today was from PC Gamer, but every now and then they throw in something, some opinion piece, some slant on something. They report about something stupid, and they just keep reporting over and over again. It's not just like one article you can skip. It's, man, I just keep using the phrase beating a dead horse, but that's what it is. It's so bad, and I'm so frustrated with it. And honestly, I don't think I'm even I think I'm probably late to the party. I'm probably just a few years behind the people I see on YouTube that are just ranting and foaming at the mouth about games journalism being unethical and being garbage. And sadly, the fact that I've become a YouTuber and started streaming means that. So I don't know how I could really fix it, though. The only thing I could ask is, do we just drop the news? Do I just be completely uninformed about new games? The chat's not big enough right now to do that, but that might be the solution in the future. If there's enough people that just come on the chat and people are just going to ask me things, I might just at some point in the future have the chat say, what do you think about this new game? At that point, I'll go look at new games and stop being a news reporter altogether. And just be reactionary to the chat. I think that is the right solution in the long term. I don't know what to do in the short term, though. So, just, I kind of wanted to inform my audience. I kind of wanted to be a news reporter, but if every source of news comes with its own little bias, because nobody in the video game industry can be an unbiased news source and just report the facts, then that's all I want. It's just Dragnet, just the facts, ma'am. That's all I want. I just want the facts, and I don't think that's too much to ask. And you're not even getting it on my channel now, because I'm being affected by this, by annoying other news sources. Well, I was wrapping up saying I managed to not rant too much here. I think I still haven't managed to rant as much as I could have about this. I'm gonna work on all of these quests just off screen. There's nothing really going on in chat. We've done 2 45-minute episodes. I wanted to get back to more consistent times, so there's some daily quests everywhere. Some things I'm gonna probably have to trade out. A watch and learn is not likely to happen on the Asia account. That's it for this recording and the stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.